everybody? It is July 6, 2018, 6:13 a.m. Alright, for those of you that don't know, Hurricane Beryl is our first hurricane of the Atlantic season. We have hit that 75 mile per hour mark, which brings us to a Category 1. Last night was Tropical Storm Beryl, and we also have our 40% disturbance cyclone possibility still right off the east coast, the southeast coast of the U.S. But it's official, 75 mile per hour winds. It is expected, key word there, expected to die down by the time it gets to the Lesser Antilles, which is right where my mouse is here. Then we have Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Cuba, and then so on and so forth into the Gulf. Now, spaghetti plots are showing that if this thing does survive, some show it's shooting towards Cancun a little bit, maybe into the Gulf, but more of those models do have it coming up and around the East Coast, and that's due to different pressures and atmospheric conditions. Now, what we also need to think about is the point that we have this 40% chance of cyclone formation. Now, the possibility of these interacting, I think, is low. It will be one or the other, but this has the potential to be a big rainmaker for the East Coast states here, especially the Carolinas, and it looks like it wants to whip up into the Northeast. Now, the Northeast just got done with a big round of storms last night. I heard rain all night, actually, until this morning it finally stopped, but we're expected to get another round actually by 10 or 11 a.m. for most of the Northeast. Now, as far as the time frame goes, it's expected this storm Beryl, Hurricane Beryl, to die down by Sunday going into Monday. I expect it to be a hurricane a little bit longer than that. It'll probably make it to the Lesser Antilles maybe just before. But just the conditions, we have a west to east shear wind, which are high altitude winds with a lot of dry air. And when you mix dry air with hurricanes, especially smaller storms like this one, they tend to be broken apart, which would be a good thing. We don't want to be dealing with hurricanes really ever, but for the first hurricane of the season to be a threat to the U.S. would not be a good start to the predictions of the pros who say that it might be a weak season. We got to remember it's early. Hurricane Harvey was in August, and then we had a 10-name storm in a row, record-breaking part of the 2017 hurricane season. So these are our time frames right now. You can see right here we are at 65 knots, about 75 miles per hour, which makes it that hurricane, that Category 1 hurricane. And it's moving west at 12 knots, 14 miles an hour, which would be this way. So it's expected to come up in this area. And then the spaghetti plots once again show that if it did survive, it wants to move, if I could find them again. There we go. Excuse me. It wants to move up the East Coast, at least according to most of the models. We do not expect that to happen because of the weakness of the storm as of right now, and the fact that, again, that we have that west-east shear wind that is more than likely going to rip it apart. But for the future, we need to also talk about how we speak about these barrel roll situations. That is what you want to look out for, and there's another wave coming above Beryl. Kind of a run-on word there, barrel roll, Beryl, Hurricane Beryl, kind of funny. We have this wave above it too also that may have some potential of being an invest at some point. Here is that 40% cyclone formation possibility we're looking at also. You could see beginning to spin now. 40% is a pretty decent number. Now, I don't know if it's going to have enough time in water to form before it actually gets to the coast, but this could be a big coastal rainmaker for a lot of the southern states as far south as Florida. So this is our current storm, guys. Hurricane Beryl, 80 knot gusts. That's pretty high. It's about 90 miles an hour, 95 mile an hour gusts, but sustained winds about 75, which make it that Category 1 hurricane. Here's a little bit of a satellite view just coming together now. We'll see what type of shape this thing takes as the day goes on. I will be at work most of the day, but any significant updates I will bring to you. And when we look at this on the GFS, you could see how it comes right off the coast there, right down in this area. Comes off the coast of West Africa, rides low because of the high pressure in the Bermuda Atlantic, and there's that wave above it we were looking at too. So we want to keep an eye on this wave as well. So here would be Beryl, and here's that second wave we're looking at right now, which is right here. And here's the low pressure off the East Coast. So a lot of different things to keep in mind and to watch. GFS actually showing this becoming a significant cyclone. So if we switch over to, for example, the European model, they barely even show Beryl as a storm at all. It's a low pressure system with that 40% chance of the cyclone formation being more prominent on the screen than the actual hurricane we have right now. So very interesting stuff there. Doppler radar of the U.S. shows that line of storms that we just dealt with in the northeast, and it's going to hang around for a while. It's going to be a little cooler today, finally, a little break from the heat, a little warmer down in the south, some rain in Florida as well. So this was the most recent article on the Weather Channel website that talks about Beryl. The first article was talking about it possibly becoming a hurricane, which it obviously has become. So I guess this article is a bit outdated. I'm sure they will update it. Tropical storm Beryl is now quickly intensifying between West Africa and the Lesser Antilles. So yeah, this article is a little outdated. They will update it, I'm sure, because it is now a hurricane. That is the info we have for this morning, guys. So we need to keep an eye on not only Beryl, but the 40% chance that is very close to home right now, right in the little pocket between Florida and the Carolinas. All right, guys, I hope everyone has a great morning. Once again, it is July 6th already. Oh, boy, we're almost in the second week of July. Hope everyone has a great day. We'll be back with updates later on. Thank you. Bye-bye.